You know, I don't know if any of you are into video games by any chance. If you're relatively young like me, like millennial age or maybe Gen Z, you might also appreciate games. I grew up with them, so since I was about 4 years old, started on the NES, the old Nintendo. And what I'd like to say about that is, smoking a pipe is, the smoking experience. I think there are a lot of parallels with some types of games, especially Dark Souls. The whole Lord of Cinder thing and lighting the bonfire, keeping the fire lit, don't you dare go hollow, that type of thing. Keep the fire burning. Kindle the flame. That's what I like. That's, kind of a parallel that I draw between the two. You have to keep pushing on, struggling. I mean, sometimes your fire goes out and then you're in a bit of a slump. I mean, technically there are three parallels. So it's Dark Souls, kindling the flame, smoking a pipe, keeping the fire lit and relighting it as well, and keeping it lit by pulling. And then life, the third one. I have to pull a bit harder now to keep it lit, but once it gets going again, then you can just go back to your usual cadence. Always have something to drink just to keep your mouth nice and moist. You can pair pipe smoking with, I don't know, some people like to pair it with whiskey, water, cool drink, Monster Energy. I just like to do it with coffee. Because I smoke, maybe 3 times a day sometimes. And yeah, just drinking coffee, I don't want to get intoxicated. So it is a little bit dead now. I think I'm just going to do a relight. Sometimes that happens, like I said. Kindle the flame. Kindle the flame, and like in Dark Souls, restore humanity by using a humanity. And that's just one of the little joys of life, You can say smoking's harmful to you. Harmful. It definitely is. But so is going out into the world. I mean, I've said and had different opinions before in my life about smoking, but particularly smoking cigarettes. So I dropped those many years ago. I was addicted to nicotine for a while. And yeah, that was a couple of years ago. About 5 years ago, I stopped smoking cigarettes. And then in the interim, I didn't smoke anything. And then in 2023, a couple of months ago, well, I would say 7 months ago, in about May of 2023, I then picked up a smoking pipe. I've always wanted to try it out. It has this classical feel to it, going back to the old times, early 20th century, mid 20th century, maybe to the, mid to late 20th century, pipe smoking was still a thing. But it has definitely died out. Although cigarette smoking, I think, is still quite prevalent. It's a lot of countries that have a cigarette addiction problem in their populations. And it has many bad effects. And I'm not trying to be negative, I'm not saying don't smoke cigarettes, and I'm also not trying to say you should smoke cigarettes. Doggo just coming to say hello. Hey Buzz. I'm not trying to say, I'm not trying to take a particular view on it, but my stance is that, in general, smoking cigarettes is harmful to you and those around you, and so is pipe smoking, so is drinking alcohol, so is, being exposed to harmful chemicals in certain foods and plastics and stuff. Sometimes it is better the devil you know than the devil you don't. I mean, everyone has to make their own choices, and that's fine. But, I mean, at least pipe smoking doesn't, you don't really get addicted to it. I mean, I've gone weeks without smoking it. But for me, the addiction to it, if you can call it that, I mean, the proclivity for smoking pipe is more related to the feeling that you get of smoking, instead of the actual nicotine, because you don't inhale it, so a lot of the nicotine does not get, sorry, just trying to keep this thing lit. Yeah, a lot of the nicotine does not get, absorbed. But obviously through the mucous membranes, of course. I'm not denying that there is some nicotine that's being absorbed, but it's to a lesser extent. Yeah, it's dying on me again. See, once it starts dying, then you definitely have to keep working at it. I mean, I've had bowls that lasted me basically, since lighting it the first time, it lasted all the way through. And sometimes you need to relight it. But it's still very cold to the touch. I mean, I can put it against my cheek. There's a slight warmth to it. It's very tepid though. And that's the way it should be. If it gets too hot, just give it a rest, put down the pipe, and let it rest for a minute or two, and then continue. Most important thing when you relight is obviously clamp it down, and then give it a proper light. Pull nice and hard, get those embers burning, and then it should be all Gucci. I'm not that good at, making smoke rings. Back in my teenage years, I mean, I'm turning 30 now. Back in my teenage years, we used to do hookah smoking, Hubbly Bubbly and those two. Then I was relatively adept at doing smoke rings, but then again, with those hookah pipes, you get a ton of smoke. And once again, not condoning hookah smoking at all. I don't do that at all anymore. But then again, if you like that, then go for it. All I'm saying is that, with that big volume of smoke, it was much easier to practice smoke rings and also get nice rings. Also, because you inhale it, you can give your full, your full pulmonary lung expulsion to it. That big power behind it. And now I'm fading miserably. I don't know if it's the nicotine per se, but also I think it's the act of drawing the smoke and expelling it from your mouth. Gives you a slight bit of a head rush, a little bit of that buzz, which is also, a pleasant feeling. And just to reiterate, reason why I just enjoy smoking pipe is just to maybe sometimes just sit and contemplate things, or just give your mind a rest. Just focus on the act of smoking. And it can last you a couple of minutes, it can be like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just to reset and give your mind some time to digest some thoughts and things, and then get back at doing life. You can pair smoking with socializing as well. Sometimes I do that when I have friends over or I go visit friends or my family. I'll sometimes take my pipe with, or when friends come over, I'll bring out my pipe. And just pair it with some good old-fashioned socializing, having a chat. I've read a bit about the history of pipe smoking and things, and different types of pipes that you get. And I've watched a couple of videos a while ago though, so my memory is not that fresh on them. But what I've gathered is that, especially men can usually just smoke pipe together and not really say anything, just sit and just enjoy the time together, enjoy the company. That's something that we've lost in our society. Modern society now in 2023 is, it's tough on the socializing aspect. People don't generally just sit together and just enjoy time together. There usually has to be some kind of agenda or, reason for being together. Like we have to go party, or we have to play games together. We have to go watch a sports game together, sports match. I can't speak for, man, I have to relight again. I can't speak for, the female gender, but my experience with, being male is that, male friends, they usually have to have an activity together to really bond. And modern days, it can get a bit skewed. Instead of just bonding over life and sharing your own struggles and, just listening, talking about general things, at least in my experience, that doesn't happen too often. But that that's just my personal experience. I could be wrong. It's maybe not a general thing, but there has been a general. There is statistics out there that just shown that the loneliness epidemic is really a big problem, especially among men. So yeah, I mean, not saying pipe smoking is the solution to that, but I mean the general zeitgeist or whatever is shifting more to individualism, and people aren't really just coming together just to be together, just to enjoy the time together with no real, there hasn't, with no real, set agenda, because there doesn't need to be a specific goal for you being together. It can just be to relax together and just enjoy one another's company, and that can also help with mental health issues and stuff, instead of just feeling like a means to an end. Your time together can just be whatever that may be. Let's hope that this match stays lit in this wind. There are some other lighting methods. I mean, I do have a lighter somewhere. I mean, here's one of my lighters, but I don't like lighting a pipe with a lighter. It just ruins the taste. You can use those long safety matches. You can get a specific lighter like a Zippo, that has a specific attachment, where you can put it inside the bowl. I don't have one of those though. There's also this one YouTube channel that I like to watch every so often. Dry Creek Wrangler School, I think it's called. I don't know what the man's name is, but he's got some nice, old man's advice, if you want to call it that. But yeah, this bowl's almost finished, so I'm just gonna finish it up and let's just sit in nice silence and enjoy this together. My coffee is also finished now. It's a lovely overcast day with some rain. It's been like this the whole day now. I think it's about, what's the time now? It's almost 4 p.m. As you can see, I love Dark Souls. It was my screensaver is lighting a bonfire, so yeah, I just like the Souls series, Elden Ring, Bloodborne, those types of games. It's a nice breeze as well. It's quite cool. And that's also why I've got my short sleeve shirt on, just to enjoy the coolness. It's been very hot the past couple of weeks, so I'm enjoying the coolness. Just one last thing I wanted to say about the smoking thing. Also with cigarettes, I mean, I do have friends and acquaintances that smoke cigarettes, and like I said, nothing wrong with that. I used to smoke. But a cigarette doesn't last that long. You have to smoke a couple if you want to just sit and enjoy the session, in good company. So with a pipe, you can light it. Well, I mean, you have to relight it, but with one bowl, it can last you quite a few minutes. And the ritual of, packing the bowl, lighting it, enjoying it, goes a long way just to ground yourself. But on that note, I think this bowl's done. It's so cool to the touch. I'm not going to overdo it, so that's going to be it for this video. Sandbag Daryl signing out. See you guys in the next video.